Before I start to solve an absolute value equation, I just like to go over the definition of absolute value. The absolute value of a number is its distance from zero on a number line. So let's just mark this. This is my 0 point. So 1, let's say 3 is over here. So the absolute value of 3 means how far is 3 away from 0. It is 1, 2, 3 units away from 0. So the absolute value of 3 is equal to 3. So let's check -1, -2, and -3. The absolute value of -3 means how far is -3 away from 0. I know that -3 is 1, 2, and 3 units away from 0. So absolute value of -3 is 3. So the absolute value is about magnitude. Your direction is not important when you're working with absolute values. The expression inside or the number inside the absolute value bars can be negative number or positive number, but absolute value of that number, which means its distance from 0, is always going to be positive. What about 0? The absolute value of 0. So my question is, how far is 0 away from 0? 0 is 0 units away from 0. So absolute value of 0 is 0. So when we see a variable inside the absolute value, let's say this is equal to 5. So that means my variable is 5 units away from 0. So that means it can be, I know that it can be positive 5 because positive 5 is 5 units away from 0, but negative 5 is also 5 units away from 0. So when we are working with absolute value equations, we have two possible solutions. So when we are working with that, we're going to consider two different cases. So in case first, and how we're going to solve it, in case first, we're going to write the expression inside this absolute value bars, and we're going to just say x is equal to 5, or x can be, the expression inside this absolute value bars, x can be negative 5, because I know that the absolute value of negative 5, if we check, absolute value of negative 5 is equal to 5, because negative 5 is 5 units away from 0. And also positive 5, absolute value of positive 5 is also equal to 0, because 5 is 5 units away from 0. So as you can see, I'm going to have two solutions, and when we are writing these solutions, we're going to use brackets, and I'm just going to say that I have two solutions. So let's just solve another one. So let's say this time, let's say absolute value of b minus 7 is equal to 4. That means my expression over here, b minus 7, is 4 units away from 0. So that means it can be positive 4, because positive 4 is 4 units away from 0, or it can be negative 4, because I know that negative 4 is 4 units away from 0. So first case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove those absolute value bars, and I'm just going to write the expression inside that absolute value bars, and I'm just going to say that it's equal to 4. And then I'm going to solve for b. Since there's a subtraction over here, I'm just going to add 7 on both sides. Just add 7 on both sides. So it's going to be b, negative 7 plus 7 is going to be 0, so I don't have to write that one. And 4 plus 7 is equal. So B can be 11. My second solution, so the expression inside this absolute value bars, B minus 7, can be negative 4. By the way, I'm not saying my absolute value is negative 4, because my absolute value over here cannot be a negative number. It is always positive number. But the expression inside this absolute value bars, this can be negative. So in this case, because I know that absolute value of negative 4 is also 4, so I'm just going to say that this expression inside this absolute value bars can be negative 4. And I'm going to solve for B in this case, and I'm going to add 7 on both sides. So it's B negative 7 plus 7, it's going to be 0, so I don't have to write that one. Negative 4 plus 7, it's going to be 3. So in this case, my solutions are 3 and 11. So let me check if my solutions are correct. So I said x can be 3. Let's try. The absolute value of b minus 7, instead of b, I'm writing 3 minus 7. Is it really equal to 4? So I'm just checking. The absolute value 3 minus 7 is equal to negative 4. And yes, negative 4 is really equal to 4. So 3 is a solution. I'm just going to check my solution with 11. So I'm just going to say inside of this absolute value bars, instead of b minus 7, instead of b, I'm just going to substitute it. 11 minus 7, is it really equal to 4? I'm going to check for this. And I know that 11 minus 7 is equal to 4. And actually, 4 is 4 units away from 0. So this is also a solution. I'm just repeating it again. I'm not saying the absolute value when I'm just considering my two possible solutions. I'm not saying the absolute value is equal to 4. I'm just saying that inside this absolute value, it can be, I have two options. It can be, let me just use another color and just write it over here again. I'm saying that my options are, my first option, it can be 4, because I know that 4 is equal to 4. Or what else can be 4 in absolute value? Negative 4 is also 4. So I'm saying that inside this absolute value ours, my expression can be 4 or it can be negative 4.